I have a background in waste management. I worked in the industry for about 10 years. And so it's sort of my personal thing that I'm interested in most. But what we try to do is make sure we're addressing recycling issues, composting, and working with the county, Zero Waste Marin, to make sure we're achieving our zero waste goals. There's actually goals out there for 2025 and beyond. One of the issues that we're struggling against is plastics, and the fact that you might have heard through news sources or whatever that more and more we're struggling to find markets for plastics and getting them recycled. And even if they have a chasing arrow on them or they say recyclable, they might not be. And we want to make sure that we're addressing those types of plastics, single-use plastics, and therefore, especially living in Sausalito, where we have a waterfront town where we have a lot of tourists coming in, a lot of takeout food. We're finding out that more and more of these smaller plastics even are ending up in the bay. And so we're trying to address this issue by creating this ban. And we're not the only city. Fairfax and Anselmo actually implemented similar bans ahead of us. Now the County of Marin is taking this on. So it's essentially a wave that's happening. And this is why I've asked the council to go ahead and pass our own local ordinance so we can address the issue. And you know, again, it's a matter of what can and can't be recycled. Let's get rid of the things that we know have absolutely no market, get them out of the bay, look at ways to look for compostable materials or some alternative. And thus we've got a grant from Zero Waste Marin to do this education outreach, hire Freddie, et cetera, and do what we can to help businesses. We know it's a hard time, especially with this pandemic and how hard it's hitting all the businesses here. And we've actually passed, or we've pushed back and postponed implementing this because of that. And now what we're trying to do is just get ahead of things for next year. We're here to help, not hurt or hinder business. And so again, we really appreciate just giving us the time to educate everybody and do what we can to help. So that's it, but I'll turn it back to Freddie. And again, thank you.
Thanks, Kathy. So before I get started, I also want to say thank you to Bay Cities Refuse, who's been our hauler for Sausalito, but also an important reason why we're moving forward with banning plastic, single-use plastics. So Kim or Greg, would you like to say anything in regards to the ban or?
Yeah, no, we're happy. You know, we're glad that we're moving forward, and the County of Marin and other communities are together on this now. When we started the green waste program, you know, or the organics program in Sausalito full force, we kind of encouraged everybody, multifamily and restaurants, to get involved, and we passed out cans and composting containers to all the restaurants back then. But it made a big difference. So having the plastics ban is just another step that we can kind of move forward with all this.
Thank you. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. I'd like to begin by saying that this is the ordinance fact sheet that went to all businesses. It went maybe the second week of November or third week of November. So you should have received this letter. If not, I personally called you or emailed you to send you this fact sheet. It's also attached to the calendar invite, so you can refer to it there or on your email, or you can email me for it as well. So why was this mandate passed? As Kathy mentioned earlier, single-use plastic foodware is not recyclable in Sausalito, and even beyond that, it's not recyclable in many parts of the Bay Area. There are no markets or very limited markets to single-use plastics. And so plastics and compostable plastics alike are ending up in our landfills. And also they are ending up in our waterways. So as coastal cities, Sausalito, San Francisco, it is our responsibility to prevent these plastics from entering our waterways. And so Sausalito is not the only city that has enacted plastic litter reduction ordinances. San Francisco has one, City of Alameda as well. And just moving forward, I think more and more cities are going to be enacting these types of bans because it does cost municipalities a lot of money to clean up the waterways. And resources, that's taking money away from other places where this money could be going to. And plastic is also a major source of greenhouse gas emissions. We all experienced the devastating wildfires that just happened a couple months ago. And these wildfires are increasing due to drier conditions, which are part of our climate change. And if we don't prepare, these conditions are going to get worse. And we also experience how when we have wildfires here in the Bay Area, it led to closures of our businesses and it stopped a lot of our economic activity as well. But there is light at the end of the tunnel, you can say. So compost does heal the planet, but it has to be plastic free. So this is an image of what compost looks like once it's broken down. So unfortunately, plastics are a contaminant to compost, and compostable plastics are not breaking down in this open windrow systems, which is a system that is called for these handling the compost. And what's really magical, I think, about composting is that it's a very circular system. So a lot of our local vineyards, Sonoma, Napa County, they are purchasing the finished compost from our composting facilities. And so there's a lot of demand for compost because it's an alternative to doing like synthetic fertilizers and herbicides. So composting definitely helps our local farms, but it has to be good quality. And so more and more our composters are seeing plastics in the finished product. So this ban will also help clean the end result. So really what this ordinance is making the transition away from plastic to fiber-based foodware. So right now there are a ton of single-use plastic items and some already have gained a lot of traction. So paper straws, they're everywhere now. Paper bags is another pretty common thing that already was transitioned, but in terms of cutlery, there's still a lot of plastic cutlery, so we should start reducing that and transition away from it, as well as things like bowls and plates and trays. So I'm gonna go into more detail. And I just wanted to stop here for a second that reusable is the best option. So once our businesses are able to open up again, hopefully sooner than later, providing reusables, at least when you're doing indoor dining or dining in the establishment, doing reusables is the best option. Compostable fiber is compliant. So again, it has to be paper-like, wooden, bamboo. They break down easily. Even in home composting systems, this can be broken into. And plastic is not allowed. So who does this law apply to? So the law applies to food vendors, indoor and outdoor food establishments, restaurants, cafeterias, coffee houses, and including those that offer delivery or takeout services. The law also applies to events held on City of Sausalito property. So right now, obviously, we don't have events, but we're confident that maybe next year we'll have some of these events. So it's important that they don't use plastic foodware and that move to fiber-based as well. And then also applies to events sponsored by the city of Sausalito. And it's more than likely that Marin County will be enforcing the countywide ordinance. They have a similar one that will probably be passed next year, if not likely in 2022. So like Kathy said, we are preparing for this ordinance. It's not like we're gonna be enforcing it right now or probably even next year, but we're just already getting the conversation started to help make your business make this transition. So what items are banned? So plastic bags, I think, are important to for checkout and for carryout orders. Plastic cutlery, plastic toothpicks, plastic stirrers, plastic plugs, straws, clamshells, bowls, trays. What's really important to highlight here is that compostable bioplastics, like those made of PLA and cornstarch, are also banned under this ordinance. So if you're using a compostable product that's made of PLA, cornstarch, or biodegradable, you have to make the transition from those to a fiber base as well. Just another image of banned items. So this includes your plastic clamshells, plastic hinge containers. The only thing that I say that we are really not targeting right now is plastic cold cups. But in the future, Marin County will probably be banning those as well. So if there is a way that you can transition from your plastic or petroleum or compostable based plastic cold cups to go to a fiber based one. And so what is the issue with compostable plastics? So compostable plastics do not biodegrade in marine environments. So when littered in our waterways, they act just like any plastic cutlery. And they're not, they're not accepted in our commercial facility that's used by Bay City's refuse, and other facilities in the Bay Area as well cannot take these compostable plastics. So therefore, compostable plastics need to be landfilled or are landfilled for most of the part, or end up as a contaminant in the finished product. And they're not really an acceptable alternative to regular plastic. So I really do think that we got into a mess here by creating compostable plastics in the first place. And now, like plastic, cities around the state or around the planet, they're having to deal with compostable plastics as well. And more and more cities are also banning these, like San Anselmo, Fairfax, Alameda, just to name other few jurisdictions doing this as well. So what items are allowed? Very simple. As long as it's a fiber-based product that's not lined with PLA, it's definitely compliant. So we already see a lot of paper straws. There's this type of hinge fiber containers. Those are okay. If you are using trays, making sure that these are fiber-based, and any like skewers or little things that you put on your drinks and your cocktail drinks, as long as these are like wooden or paper-based, they are compliant. And of course, for carry out and takeout orders using these paper bags. And very important, I'm gonna stop here to talk about these items. So the items that you see here should be provided upon request only. And in order to do that, you should probably have these items behind the counter. And I think in a way the pandemic, prevented people from just putting things out so people can grab them. So people are having to ask them. So keep doing that. now we see a lot of mobile orders. So if the customer is not asking for this on the order, then don't give it to them. So you are preventing from your customers from accumulating this unnecessary waste at their homes. The reality is that everyone is probably working from home right now, and therefore they already have reusable cutlery. They probably already have napkins. They probably don't need a straw. So save yourself some money and save, more waste, or prevent waste by not giving these items. So again, I really just want to reiterate, to provide these items that are probably some of the costliest ones. I'm talking about like fiber-based cutlery. Store those and give them upon request only. And so how to comply and request assistance. So we do have a Sausalito vetted vendor list. This list is was compiled by Marin County. So they had consultants and staff look over a lot of vendors, foodware vendors, and mark if they're compliant or not. So I went ahead and did the extra step to verify this list. So the list is attached again to the calendar invite that you received. And as a follow-up, I'll attach it to the email as well. You can request a free starter kit that I'm going to talk to you about in a second. If needed, you can request an on-site or virtual consultation. I will be the person assisting your business doing this consultation, so I can do a little waste assessment to determine what plastic foodware do you still have, how to make the switch, how to find a good vendor. And I know it can be a little bit overwhelming, but start by switching a couple of items first. So if you have plastic straws, or if you have plastic cutlery or a plastic bag, start by making the switch with one item at first so that you're not overwhelmed. So, okay, I have a lot of cutlery, then switch the cutlery first. And if you can, switch everything, but pick one item and go from there. This is just an example of the Sausalito vendor plastic-free marine resource list. So a lot of the vendors here are, the containers are online, so they're BPI certified and free of PFAS. And you click the link and it goes to the products that they sell. And then we also have their contact information. And if you were to scroll to the right, you can see like a drop-down list of what single-use foodware items these vendors list. So again, you all will be receiving this list, and please use it as a resource. And if you have any questions in regards to any vendors, you can email them. You can call me, email me, and I can do that conversation as well. Always important to ask if they're BP certified, if they don't have fluorinated chemicals, and also, if they're made here, you might want to choose products that are made in the United States so that we're not shipping things from other parts of the globe. So I mentioned requesting a free starter kit. So if your food establishment would like a free starter kit, you can let me know and we'll send you a starter kit. The starter kit is fiber-based foodware items, and they're mostly like a sample. So it's more like a sample kit. So say if you are still using like a plastic clamshell and a plastic cup for your soups, and you're interested in seeing like, well, I would like to see what this fiber-based clamshell would be like, or this cup, fiber cup, we'll send you one so that you can, you know, get the feel for it, see if it's the right material or the right feel for you. Or the same for cutlery. If you have never seen what this fiber cutlery looks like, then we'll go ahead and send you, you know, this sample kit. Or you might not need it because you already have the vendor list, and you can decide on your own. But it is a resource that we have. And again, we have an assistance request form. There's a tiny URL for it. It's tinyurl.com/plasticbansupport. I'm gonna be honest with you, like you don't even have to do this. You can just email me. I have a lot of capacity right now. Sausalito is really not that big of a city. So we have more than enough resources to assist your establishment. And that's it for my part. So I'm finishing the presentation a little bit early, but maybe we can, I'm not sure if attendees are able to share their screens or turn their microphones on, but if anyone has any questions, this would be the good time to engage in conversation.
I think anybody can turn their microphone on. If somebody would like to share their screen, I'll have to turn that on. You'll just have to let me know.
Hi, Amy here from Poju. I think what you guys are doing is great. Poju has supported this initiative for as long as we've been trying for a couple years. You know, the straws, as you said, easy. There's many options. Paper straws are pain, but they work. We use hay straws. That's been a really nice development to see some other sort of options. But just in this particular time, and I know you're aware, for all the restaurants that are doing to-go only, we have struggled with finding containers that are appropriate, that travel well. You know, the fiber boxes that you showed, they don't hold liquid. I mean, I've had meatballs fall in my car one time, just disaster. So we're in this really intense period right now, all the restaurants in Sausalito and in the Bay Area, where to-go is our focus. And you know what, I love this initiative. I wish technology were a little bit more caught up, because a lot of the fiber resources are just not conducive for to-go business. So what we've done is we've done everything we can to be compliant, but we have to use these reusable plastic shells right now. And I mean, I put them in my dishwasher, I wash them, I reuse them, but I know once it gets to the hands of the consumers, I can't control what they do. So I understand why long-term we can't do that. I just hope that in the short term, while we're in this position of to-go and delivery, that you guys will understand that what we're doing here is really the best we can for, you know, the best medium between the two, and hopefully we'll find a product that's completely fiber compliant in the future. But it is a challenge right now for some of the products.
Yeah, thank you. I think like what you're doing is the right thing, and like I mentioned earlier, like no one's going to be doing enforcement right now, and I completely agree with you. Some of these fiber-based products don't hold liquid well, especially when thinking for, you know, just like more like greasy food or like soups. So I think like in your case, or for anyone that might be doing takeout, like you might be doing it as right now, but just like opting out, you know, napkins and cutlery, and just having them request that if they need it.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you. And thanks for being here.
Yeah, and I think I just want to add to that, that we totally get how hard this is. There's no question. And we know it's a lot to ask, but I think like Freddie said, it's like even baby steps. What can we do just to start reducing what's getting out there? We totally realize there's certain things that just the technology is not there, products aren't there, but let's, and we're very grateful to you and Poju for even being ahead of the game here, you know, so it's as much as you can do. It's all about reduce as much as we can, and then we'll hopefully get there, you know, sooner than later. There's going to be some bright entrepreneur that figures this out, like find that solution, something truly compostable that works, or, you know, what have you. So anyway, just wanted to say thanks for all the efforts you've done so far.
Yeah, thank you, Amy. This is Lauren. I'm one of the commissioners as well. And I was wondering if you had any insight into the delivery relationship, like the DoorDash relationship, and the people, the app folks that are picking up. Are you finding that there is a handover of a package that, so your Poju staff is putting together what's in the bag, and perhaps the people who are putting in the silverware and the napkins? Or are you finding that DoorDash is accessing that and adding that in? There's been a little bit of an opaqueness, I think, in understanding that element, that third party that's not the restaurant and that's not the consumer. Do you have any notice anything there? I think you're on mute.
Yeah, so all the third parties do ask if you require silverware or compostable ware or whatever. So we don't give it unless they ask for it. It's a lot of money, so we really try not to give it away. But they do ask.
Got it. So if we're seeing disconnects, I have to admit I've been guilty of like sort of the testing out different things where I put in, I don't want silverware or I don't want, you know, utensils, but I get it. So I've been trying to figure out from the consumer end, where is that disconnect happening? So it sounds like it's actually happening with a particular restaurant, and I haven't tested it with Poju. So, but probably more the restaurant end. And I just wanted to know if there's something I was missing there.
Yeah, I know. It's, you know, some restaurants, you have to adapt to the model a little bit, and some people just have always done to go, and they've always done things a certain way. So for them, they just get the package together, they throw in the silverware, and they send it off. So, you know, for us, we weren't so to go heavy until this year. So we've been able to just kind of evolve with it. We definitely, I mean, I think all restaurants want to reduce costs because all of these new fiber-based products just cost money. Like our hay straws are so much money, man, but it's worth it. And so we just try to reduce what we're doing. So certain restaurants might still be using plastic, and that's pretty cheap. So they're probably just throwing it in there.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else have any questions, comments, concerns, suggestions? We do plan to do this workshop again in, well, probably late spring, if not later next year. But anything that we can do to improve this for business owners is also great feedback. And you know, I know that like the shelter-in-place order just got enacted again in, unfortunately, in Monday. So that really reduced the number of attendees that we had today because they're like struggling, figuring out the logistics around how to run the business right now.
Freddie, on that note, I know we're recording this session, so this will be available as well. Like someone, you know, it'll be another workshop, but they can also get access to this particular workshop online, I'm assuming, right? So.
Sure, it can be added to the uploaded somewhere, or
yeah, I'm wondering if we can upload it to our webpage somehow. I'm not sure exactly what the logistics are. Maybe Larissa, you can help figure that out, but just somehow people could get access to this, just to at least do it at their leisure instead of having this be at a certain time with us.
Absolutely. I'll figure out a place to put it that's accessible to everybody.
Great, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, well, I don't see any. I'm not sure. Actually, haven't been checking the chat, but I think we might be coming to an end here, unless someone else has any questions. As I mentioned, you can go ahead and email me, zerowastesausalito@gmail.com. If you have any questions, or if you like the vendor list, or if you need any assistance on, how to even at least just start doing upon request on the cutlery and the napkins, condiment packets. Like Amy said, these are costly items, and often they're not needed by your customers if they're eating at home. Okay, commissioners, would you like to add anything else? Or
yeah, Lauren, I didn't mean to steal all the thunder. If you want to say anything.
No thunder stolen. Plus I was late. No, just thank you everyone for your time. And thanks Freddie and Alina for your hard work on this project. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, and to Greg and